Have you ever felt like the universe is trying to send you a message, but you've been ignoring it? Take a moment and listen, because this might be what you need to change your life. Subtle messages are placed on your path. Moments so precise, they can't be accidents. The song that plays just as you think of someone, the number that follows you everywhere, the stranger you randomly meet who has the exact answer you've been searching for. You've brushed them off as coincidences, but deep down, you've always felt there was something more. And you were right. Synchronicities are not accidents. They are messages, patterns embedded deep in reality itself, guiding you towards something greater. Ancient civilizations knew this. Mystics and philosophers studied it. But modern society calls it luck, chance, or randomness, because the system doesn't want you to realize the truth. These moments are proof that the universe is not what you've been told it is. In this video, we will pull back the curtain and reveal what synchronicities really are, why they happen, and how you can use them to reshape your life. From the moment you were born, you were conditioned to believe in a world of logic, structure, and predictability. Everything had to have a rational explanation, and anything that didn't fit within that framework was dismissed as coincidence or imagination. But what if this conditioning wasn't just an accident? What if it was designed to keep you blind to the deeper forces at play? Think back to your childhood. As a child, you were naturally in tune with patterns, energy, and intuition. You noticed things, like how certain events lined up perfectly, how you could sense when something was about to happen, how you instinctively knew when someone was thinking about you. But what happened? When you shared these experiences, you were told it was just your imagination. You were taught to ignore those feelings, to trust only what could be measured, proven, and categorized. The system taught you that the world was purely physical, a machine with no mystery, no deeper intelligence, just a series of random, unrelated events. And gradually, you stopped paying attention. Education played a massive role in this suppression. Schools didn't teach you how to listen to your intuition, recognize synchronicities, or understand energy. They taught you to memorize facts, follow rules, and obey authority. Creativity, imagination, and abstract thinking were systematically pushed aside in favor of logical reasoning and hard data. If you couldn't see it, weigh it, or measure it, it didn't exist. And questioning this model was discouraged. The entire system is built on the idea that you must only trust external authority, never your own inner knowing. Science became the ultimate gatekeeper of truth, not real science, but the rigid, materialistic kind, which tells you everything is random, meaningless, and explainable by chance. Under this model, synchronicities are nothing more than cognitive biases, your brain playing tricks on you. You see the number 1111 on the clock over and over again. That's just confirmation bias. You meet the perfect person at exactly the right time. Just luck. Everything is stripped of deeper meaning, leaving you disconnected from the forces that are guiding you. But here's what they don't tell you. Some of the greatest minds in history, like Carl Jung, Nikola Tesla, and Albert Einstein, recognized that reality is not as random as we've been taught. They understood that synchronicities, patterns, and hidden connections are clues to a greater truth. And even though society mocks those who value these experiences, synchronicity is not a random occurrence, but a message from a deeper intelligence. But society ridicules those who value these experiences. When you talk about synchronicity openly, you'll be labeled superstitious, irrational, or even delusional. Those who embrace these signs are dismissed as spiritual fanatics, while those who conform to a materialistic worldview are praised as rational, intelligent, and reasonable. This is not an accident. It's social conditioning. If you want to control a population, the first step is ensuring they never discover their own inner power. Because when you start paying attention to synchronicities, you will realize something profound. You are connected to something much greater than yourself. Some truths are too deep to share on YouTube, and I can't share it all here. That's why I created Insights Academy, where we'll uncover the full story behind the hidden forces of reality. If you sign up today, you'll receive an ebook of Kalyan, one of the most powerful texts on universal laws. Go to the link in the description and enter your email before it's gone. The real reason they don't want you to notice synchronicities is because they reveal a crack in the illusion. They show you that reality is not just a cold, indifferent machine. It's an interconnected web that responds to your thoughts, emotions, and energy. When you start seeing the patterns, you can't unsee them. And that's when the real awakening begins. Because the next question is, if synchronicities are not random, then what are they? Where do they come from? And why do they seem to increase as you become more aware of them? Let's dive deeper. At some point in your life, you've had an experience so precise, so perfectly timed, that it felt impossible to be random. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and suddenly they call you. You open a book to a random page, and the words in front of you are the exact answer to the question you've been thinking about. You notice a repeating sequence of numbers 111, 222, 333 showing up everywhere, as if reality itself is leaving clues on your path. These are not accidents, they are messages, and the more you pay attention, the more they appear. But here's the real secret. Synchronicities are not just random. They are deliberate signals from a deeper intelligence, a force that has been quietly guiding you your entire life. The universe is not a collection of random, disconnected events. It is an interconnected field of energy and consciousness. Every thought you have, every intention you set, every emotion you experience sends out a frequency like a radio signal, and synchronicity is the universe's way of responding. They are the bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the physical and the metaphysical, between the conscious and the subconscious. Carl Jung, one of the greatest thinkers of modern psychology, coined the term synchronicity after witnessing countless examples of events aligning in ways that defied logic. He believed these meaningful coincidences were not random, but rather expressions of the deeper hidden order of reality, a concept that ancient spiritual traditions had understood for centuries. Eastern philosophies call it karma. Mystics refer to it as divine timing. Quantum physicists describe it as non-locality, the idea that everything in the universe is fundamentally connected beyond space and time. But mainstream science avoids this topic, dismissing it as mere illusion, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Consider this. The entire universe is built on patterns and interconnected structures. Nature follows fractal geometry. Planetary orbits align in mathematically perfect ratios. Your DNA is encoded with repeating sequences. Everything in existence operates through patterns, cycles, and relationships. So why would human experience be any different? Why would your thoughts, emotions, and decisions not follow an underlying structure? The answer is they do. And synchronicity is proof of that hidden design. They are the glitches in the matrix, the moments when the underlying order of the universe reveals itself. And once you start seeing them, you begin to realize that reality is far more malleable than you were taught. But if synchronicity is a message, then the next question is, who or what is sending them? Some believe synchronicities come from a higher version of yourself, guiding you toward the right path. Others believe they are signals from the collective unconscious, a vast shared reservoir of human thought and experience that Jung described. Some even believe synchronicities are hints from an external intelligence, whether you call it the universe, God, source energy, or a simulation trying to communicate with its players. Whatever their origin, one thing is certain: synchronicity is not meaningless. They are invitations to wake up, to pay attention, and to shift your awareness from autopilot to conscious creation. Because once you start noticing them, the illusion of randomness begins to crumble. And that leads to the next question. If synchronicities aren't random, then how do they actually work? What is happening beneath the surface that causes these perfect alignments to appear in your life? And more importantly, how can you harness them to transform your life? The answer lies in understanding the hidden mechanism behind reality. Let's dive deeper. If synchronicity is a message from a deeper intelligence, then the next question is, how do they actually work? What's happening beneath the surface that causes these perfect connections to appear in your life? The truth is, there's a hidden mechanism that explains why certain events seem to connect in ways that logic cannot explain. And once you understand this mechanism, you'll realize that you have more influence over reality than you've been taught. At the core of synchronicity is a simple yet powerful principle. Your mind is not just a passive observer of reality, but an active participant in shaping it. Modern neuroscience has confirmed that your brain filters reality based on what you focus on. This is called the reticular activating system, RAS, a network in your brainstem that decides what information reaches your conscious mind. Have you ever noticed that after buying a new car, you suddenly see that exact model everywhere? The cars were always there, but your brain just wasn't filtering them until now. The same happens with synchronicity. The moment you start paying attention to them, believing in them, and expecting them to appear, your brain shifts focus, and suddenly they appear more frequently. But this goes even deeper than neuroscience. Quantum physics has long suggested that consciousness plays a fundamental role in shaping reality. The famous double-slit experiment showed that the mere act of observation changes the behavior of particles at a subatomic level. This means that reality is not a fixed, independent structure. It responds. Your thoughts, emotions, and attention actually interact with the structure of the universe. Now combine this with the law of vibration, one of the fundamental principles of metaphysics. Everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs also carry specific frequencies, and these frequencies dictate what you attract into your life. If you're constantly thinking about fear, scarcity, and limitation, your energy aligns with those experiences, and you begin noticing patterns that reinforce them. But when you shift your frequency, when you focus on alignment, purpose, and synchronicity, reality begins to reflect that back to you. This is why those who awaken to synchronicity suddenly experience more of them. It's not just because they notice them, but because their energy is shifting and reality is responding. When you focus on signs, patterns, and messages, you are tuning your consciousness to the hidden order of the universe, much like tuning a radio to the right frequency. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Your subconscious plays a massive role in generating synchronicities. While your conscious mind focuses on daily tasks, your subconscious is constantly processing deeper connections, linking information, and picking up on patterns. When you set an intention, whether consciously or unconsciously, your subconscious starts aligning events in ways that lead you to that outcome. This explains why those who strongly believe in synchronicity experience it more often. Their subconscious actively participates in aligning reality. Now, skeptics may argue that all of this is just selective attention, that synchronicity is nothing more than random events your brain chooses to notice. But if that were true, why do these events carry such deep personal meaning? Why do they perfectly align with your thoughts, emotions, and inner experiences at the exact right moment? And why do they have such a miraculous ability to guide people to life-changing decisions? Because synchronicity is not random. They are a form of communication between your conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the deeper intelligence that governs reality. The key is knowing how to work with them instead of against them. Because once you start consciously aligning with synchronicity, they don't just appear more often, they become a tool for transforming your life. And that leads to an even bigger revelation. Why do some people experience synchronicity continuously while others seem to never notice them? What's the difference between those who live in perfect harmony with life and those who still feel lost in randomness? The answer may surprise you. Let's go deeper. If synchronicity is happening all around you, why do some people experience it continuously while others barely notice it? Why do certain individuals seem to be effortlessly guided by life's hidden patterns, while others feel lost in randomness? The answer is very simple: awareness, alignment, and belief. Most people live their entire lives in a disconnected state, trapped in a mindset of logic, doubt, and rigid materialism. They are conditioned to believe that life is purely mechanical, that things happen due to cause and effect, that luck is random, and that the universe is indifferent. This belief system acts as a mental barrier that blocks synchronicity from appearing in their lives. Even when meaningful events happen, they dismiss them as irrelevant, refusing to acknowledge the deeper patterns at play. Imagine this. You're in a dark room, filled with radio waves. Hundreds of stations are broadcasting simultaneously, but if you don't have a radio tuned to the right frequency, you won't hear anything. The same applies to synchronicity. If your mind isn't tuned to the frequency of synchronicity, you will never notice the signals that reality is always sending you. So, what about those who live in harmony with synchronicity? These individuals are not special. They've simply trained their minds to receive the signs around them. They don't dismiss strange synchronicities as mere random occurrences. Instead, they pay attention, trust their intuition, and follow these patterns. And here's the interesting part. The more you pay attention to synchronicity, the more it happens. This is due to two main factors: the subconscious and the law of vibration. Your subconscious continuously absorbs information you're not consciously aware of, and it starts to recognize subtle patterns, hidden connections, and unseen opportunities. When you focus on synchronicity, you're training your subconscious to look for more synchronicities. It's like programming a search engine. Once you tell your mind that synchronicity is important, it starts filtering reality to bring them to your attention more frequently. This is the link between the subconscious and synchronicity. That's why some people seem to have strange luck. They are unconsciously guiding their reality, aligning themselves with opportunities, and noticing signs others overlook. Their subconscious is programmed to recognize synchronicity. Moving on to the law of vibration. Everything in the universe operates on frequency, including your thoughts and emotions. When you're in a low vibrational state, filled with fear, doubt, or negativity, your energy contracts and your awareness narrows. This makes it harder to recognize synchronicity because your perception is locked into survival mode, focusing on immediate concerns rather than the bigger picture. On the other hand, when you raise your vibration through gratitude, mindfulness, curiosity, and intention, you become more aligned with the flow of the universe. Your energy expands, and you begin attracting synchronicity, because now your awareness is operating at a frequency that allows them to appear. This is why people who meditate, practice mindfulness, or engage in deep self-reflection often report a strong increase in synchronicity. They've cleared the mental noise and tuned their awareness to the hidden order of reality. But there's one more important factor: belief. Those who experience continuous synchronicity are the ones who trust the process. They don't question whether the signs are real. They follow them. They act on the signals, and in doing so, they reinforce that pattern. When you acknowledge, trust, and act on synchronicity, they multiply. And here's the most important part: synchronicity is not just a message. They are opportunities to align. The universe is showing you a door, but you have to walk through it. So now, the real question is, how do you strengthen this connection? How do you recognize, interpret, and act on synchronicity consciously, so that they become a guiding force in your life? The answer lies in learning how to decode the signs. That's exactly what we're going to uncover. Let's go deeper. Synchronicity is happening around you all the time. The problem is most people don't know how to recognize them, or worse, they dismiss them as random events. But once you understand how to identify these patterns and decode their meaning, you'll begin to realize that reality has always been speaking to you. The first step to working with synchronicity is awareness. You need to shift your mindset from thinking that life is random to understanding that everything is connected. The universe communicates through symbols, patterns, and timing. These signs often appear in three distinct forms: numbers and repeating patterns. Have you ever noticed the same numbers appearing over and over again? 1111, 222, 333. These number sequences are not coincidences. Numbers carry vibrational frequencies, and when they show up in your life, it's a sign that something is shifting in your reality. In ancient mysticism, numbers were considered the blueprint of creation, and when you see specific number sequences, it's often a sign that energy is aligning. Pay attention to what you're thinking or feeling when these numbers appear, because your subconscious is trying to tell you something. Next is encountering symbols. Synchronicity often appears in the form of objects, animals, or symbols that hold special meaning for you. A song plays exactly when you need to hear it. A phrase is repeated by multiple people on the same day. An animal crosses your path. These are all part of a larger message. The key is to trust that if something feels significant, it is most likely a sign. Finally, there are meaningful events and synchronicities. These are the moments when everything falls into place so perfectly that logic cannot explain it. You are about to give up on a dream, and suddenly an opportunity comes your way. You randomly meet the right person at the right time. These moments are not random. They are guiding forces trying to push you in the right direction. So how do you decode these synchronicities? It starts by asking the right questions. When a synchronicity appears, pause and reflect. What was I thinking or feeling just before this happened? What decision am I facing right now? And how does this relate to that? Does this confirm or challenge something I've been questioning? One powerful tool you can use is a synchronicity journal. Start recording every time something unusual or meaningful happens. Over time, you'll start seeing patterns emerge. You'll notice recurring symbols, repeated messages, and clear guidance. The more you track synchronicity, the more you'll see them. But here's the secret. Recognizing synchronicity is just the first step. Acting on them is what truly transforms your life. If you keep seeing a repeating sign, a number, a phrase, or a symbol appearing continuously, it's not random. It's a nudge. If you're being drawn toward a new path, a new person, or a new opportunity, that's the universe opening a door for you. The key is to walk through it. And here's the most important part. Synchronicity is not just a message to observe. They are catalysts for action. If you keep seeing the same number, phrase, or symbol over and over again, it's not random. It's a sign, a reminder. If you're being drawn toward a new path, a new person, or a new opportunity, that's the universe opening a door for you. The key is to walk through it. But here's something even more important. Synchronicity will multiply when you act on them. The moment you start trusting the guidance and acting on it, reality will begin to shift in your favor. The more you listen, the clearer the signs become. The universe rewards those who don't just observe, but act. People who live in harmony with synchronicity don't ignore the signs, they take action, and as a result, they begin to live in a state where opportunities, connections, and perfect timing become normal. They don't wait for life to happen to them. They are co-creating with it. So now, you have to make a decision. Once you understand what synchronicity is, how it works, and how to use it, what will you do with this knowledge? The final step is to integrate it into your daily life, to step fully into the path of awareness, connection, and alignment. That's exactly what we'll be doing in the next section. Let's go deeper. Now that you know the truth about synchronicity, the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Because most people, after hearing everything we've uncovered, will fall back into their old patterns. They'll notice a synchronicity, feel a magical moment, and then dismiss it as just another random occurrence. They'll receive a sign pointing them towards something new, but they'll hesitate, worry, and let fear stop them from moving forward. They'll stay stuck in a loop of doubt, waiting for more proof, waiting for something bigger, waiting for certainty. But here's the truth. Certainty will never come before action. The system has trained you to ignore these signs, to explain them away, and to live disconnected from the deep intelligence guiding your life. But now you see it. You understand that reality is not random. It has structure, intelligence, and response. And most importantly, you are part of that structure. Your thoughts, emotions, and choices shape the path ahead. You are not just moving through reality, you are co-creating it. So what does this mean? It means that synchronicity is not just happening to you, it is happening because of you. Every alignment, every perfect moment, every repeating number, every symbol or message is an invitation to step into a new way of living, an invitation to trust, expand, align, and most importantly, to act. If there is one thing you should remember from all that has been shared here, it is this: do not ignore the signs. The universe speaks through whispers, and if you don't listen, the messages get louder. If you continue to ignore them, synchronicity will stop, and you'll fall back into old habits, drifting without direction. But if you listen, if you start treating synchronicity as truth, if you follow them and act on them, your life will change completely. Those who experience the most synchronicity are not the lucky ones. They are paying attention, acting on intuition, and trusting the process. Therefore, their lives move in ways that seem effortless, as if something is working behind the scenes to arrange everything in their favor. And indeed, it is. But it goes deeper than that. That's why Insights Academy was created, to dive deep into what we are not supposed to know. And if you sign up now, you'll receive the free ebook Kalian, one of the most powerful books on universal laws. Don't miss this opportunity. Click the link in the description and enter your email before it expires. Now that you see the patterns, now that you've felt the alignment, it's time to stop doubting and start trusting. Pay attention, track the signs, and act on them. Because when you step into alignment, you'll realize that synchronicity is not rare at all. It's everywhere, waiting for you to awaken and finally see it. If this video has resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understand."